Apple's WWDC keynote is happening in 2 days, on June 8th. And based on what's leaked from Bloomberg, the New York Times, and reliable Apple supply chain reporters, this is going to be the most significant AI announcement Apple has ever made. 3 big things are coming: a completely overhauled Siri running on Google's Gemini model, iOS 27 with deep AI integration across every app, and Apple Intelligence 2.0 with third-party model support for ChatGPT, Claude, and potentially Grok. If you use an iPhone, this changes how you'll interact with your device for the next decade. If you don't, this still matters because what Apple does here will set the consumer AI standard everyone else has to match. Today I'll walk through exactly what's expected, why Apple is partnering with Google despite being a competitor, the privacy implications, and the move you should make right now if you want to be ready. To understand WWDC 2026, you have to know how badly Apple's AI strategy went in 2024 and 2025. Apple Intelligence launched at WWDC 2024 with huge promises: personal context, deep app integration, conversational Siri. Most of it never shipped or shipped in degraded form. The Siri overhaul that was promised for early 2025 got delayed to late 2025, then to mid-2026. Meanwhile, OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic shipped frontier AI products that consumers actually wanted to use. ChatGPT crossed 900 million weekly users. Apple users started ignoring Siri and just opening the ChatGPT app. The internal admission from Apple executives: according to recent reporting, Siri couldn't be saved by Apple's own model development. They needed to partner with someone whose model was actually working. That someone is Google. Bloomberg's reporting from Mark Gurman, the most accurate Apple leaker in the industry, confirmed Apple is using Gemini as the underlying model for the new Siri. Not their own model, not OpenAI's model. Google. This is shocking on its face. Apple and Google compete on phones, on search, on services. Apple has historically been allergic to depending on Google for anything core. The reason they're doing it anyway: Gemini is the best fit. The Gemini 2.5 Pro model is best in class for multimodal understanding, which Siri needs because she's interacting with photos, screen content, and audio. Gemini also runs efficiently on device for the lighter tasks, which fits Apple's privacy-first stance. The deal terms aren't public, but the rumored structure is Apple licenses Gemini for Siri's core capabilities. Apple handles all the user-facing experience. User data goes through Apple's privacy infrastructure, not directly to Google. For Apple users, this means Siri is about to become drastically better. For Google, this means hundreds of millions of new Gemini users by default. For OpenAI, this is the worst possible outcome. They've been actively negotiating with Apple for tighter integration, and they lost. The user-facing changes in iOS 27, based on what's been leaked, Siri can now hold multi-turn conversations, like ChatGPT, but with full access to your phone. Find the email from Sarah last week about the contract, summarize it, then schedule a meeting with her for next Tuesday afternoon. Done in one prompt. Siri can now use third-party apps through Apple Intelligence Action. Books a restaurant in OpenTable, buys an Uber, composes a Slack message, posts to Instagram. The on-device AI navigates apps as if you were using them yourself. The Photos app gets deep AI editing. Describe what you want changed in natural language. The AI does the editing. This is a direct response to Google's Magic Editor and the Pixel's AI photo features. Apple Intelligence Plus is the new tier. For roughly $20 a month, you get access to ChatGPT 5.5, Claude Opus 4.7, and Gemini 2.5 Pro built directly into Siri. Ask Siri to write a long-form document and it routes to Claude. Ask for code, it routes to Codex. Ask for creative writing, it routes to ChatGPT. Apple becomes the front end. The frontier models become the back end. This is the model Apple should have built 2 years ago. They're shipping it now. The most strategically important thing about WWDC 2026 is the third-party model support. Until now, if you wanted to use multiple frontier AI models, you needed multiple apps. ChatGPT app for ChatGPT, Claude app for Claude. Gemini app for Gemini, each with separate logins, separate memories, separate contexts. iOS 27 changes this. You'll have one assistant, Siri, that can route your request to whichever model is best for the task. The routing happens transparently. You don't pick. The AI picks. For users, this is huge. No more deciding which app to open, no more switching contexts. The best model for each task gets used automatically. For developers, this is also huge. If you're building AI apps that target iPhone users, you can now access multiple frontier models through Apple's API. The friction of integrating individual model providers disappears. For OpenAI, this is the worst possible scenario. They lose the moat of being the default AI app on iPhone. Users no longer need to manually choose ChatGPT. The system chooses for them, and the system might choose Claude or Gemini for the task at hand. I want to be honest about the limits. Apple's privacy stance is real but limited. Apple Intelligence handles most processing on device. When tasks exceed device capability, they're routed to Apple's private cloud compute infrastructure. But when you opt into ChatGPT or Claude for specific tasks, the data goes to OpenAI or Anthropic with their privacy policies, not Apple's. So the privacy story for power user features will be similar to using the ChatGPT app today. The data leaves Apple's protective layer. Apple will make this clear in the UI, but in practice, most users will click through the disclosure without reading it. The model lag is also real. Apple's licensing deal with Google means Apple gets Gemini, not the bleeding edge of Gemini. Google will reserve their best new models for their own products first. Apple will always be 3 to 6 months behind on the latest capability. For most consumer use cases, this lag doesn't matter. For power users who care about the absolute frontier, you'll still want to use Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini directly. 3 specific moves for the next 60 days. 1. If you're an iPhone user, update to iOS 27 the day it ships. The AI improvements will be substantial enough that there's no reason to wait. Apple usually gates the best features behind the latest OS. 2, start thinking about which AI service you want to centralize in. If iOS 27 lets you route through one assistant to multiple models, you'll still likely have a preference for one model as your daily driver. Try Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini before iOS 27 lands so you know which fits your work best. 3. If you're a developer or builder, start preparing apps for the new Apple Intelligence Actions API. Apps that work seamlessly with the on-device AI will get massive distribution advantages over apps that don't. This is the next App Store gold rush. In the comments, what's the one Siri feature you want most from this update? Better calendar management, better photo editing, better third-party app integration, or something else? Let me know, and I'll cover the deep dive on whichever wins after WWDC lands. Subscribe. Next video is the local AI stack that runs entirely on your computer with 0 cloud dependencies and 0 monthly cost.